Hi, this is Mike Taylor from Mobile Recruiting Strategies. I'm delighted to be joined today by Rayanne Thorn, who's the Vice President of Product and Marketing Strategy at Technomedia. Welcome, Rayanne.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for having me.
And thanks for taking the time to join us today. So I'm going to hand over to you because you're going to be talking all about hiring the next generation of people, and especially from a mobile perspective. So the floor is all yours.
Well, thank you very much, and welcome everybody to this presentation on hiring next gen. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself so that you have a better understanding of who I am and why you should even listen to me. Perhaps you'd like to know a little bit more about my background and why I have the knowledge that I do. I am currently serving as the Vice President of Product Marketing and Strategy with HR technology company, Technomedia.com. I'm also an avid writer in the recruitment and HR technology space. I write for Talent Talk, which is our company blog. I write for Blogging for Jobs, which is the #1 HR resource and hiring and recruiting resource blog out there in the space at bloggingforjobs.com. And I'm also a frequent contributor to the Huffington Post, where I've been asked to participate in their job search initiative. I also host several online radio programs, Talent Talk Tuesdays, which is the radio show for Technomedia, Fresh Start Radio, Bonus Track Radio, which is my own radio program as well. I'm also a frequent speaker and presenter at webinars, conferences, and events. I serve on the board of directors for 2 separate nonprofit companies, so far nonprofit, Fresh Start Brands, and 5 for Now, which is a mobile app that is growing and will benefit merchants and how they communicate with their consumers. I'm also a mom of 4 fantastic kids, and I will try not to move my mouse around. It is a nervous habit of mine. So welcome to the webinar. A little bit about Technomedia so that you understand how I have come to this space. We're solely and exclusively focused on talent management for over 16 years, and through our unified talent management suite, we're able to help the world's leading employers attract, acquire, align, and measure their talent. We have several different modules that include performance management, succession planning, compensation management, talent profile management, and learning and development, and of course, talent acquisition or hiring or recruiting. Consistently, we rank very highly with customer satisfaction of approximately 400 clients in over 70 countries. So what we want you to take away from the presentation today is a little greater understanding about Next Gen, as well as a few resources that you can go to, and why you should consider mobile as a strategy, and also recognizing the value and potential of an updated sourcing and hiring process. And you saw a little bit of flame there. We really want you to go away feeling inspired and have the desire to really make a change in your process when you look at what's happening with the next gen potential and future employees for your organization. So you hear next gen all the time. So I want to talk about what is next gen. Well, basically, I combine it into a group of these 3 folks: millennials, those that were born recently that are just getting ready to, well, not recently, but are just getting ready to graduate from college and high school. Gen Y, those folks that have been in the workforce for about 10 years now, but are still considered the younger generation when you consider the workforce. And then Now Gen, and this is a phrase that I have coined because folks like myself, who are perhaps 50 like I am, who have embraced social media and mobile and new technologies in their workspace, in their home life, professionally and personally, and see it as a great force and a change in how we communicate. And so I group all of these 3 different groupings into Next Gen. And when we say Next Gen, that's who I'm referencing throughout the presentation. So let's talk about what Next Gen wants and what they deserve in their own minds, and that's reality for them. They like to have input regarding their future and their own personal career path. They want to be valued and appreciated in all that they do. So when they contribute with an organization or within a family unit or a work unit, they want to have the understanding that they have been valued for their contribution and that that contribution has been appreciated. It's a little bit different than when you consider baby boomers who have just contributed consistently throughout their work life and have never considered possibly that their work is appreciated or that it is valued. They don't consider that one of their driving forces. They go into work, they contribute, they work for retirement. And that's the difference, is that the next gen wants instant gratification or instant appreciation. I like to call it the microwave generation as well. We like to have our food hot, fast, and now. The same thing when it comes to gratitude and appreciation. Next gen also wants to have opportunities to learn and grow. So what is your organization doing to provide those types of opportunities for your workforce? Also very concerned about flexibility in their schedule, flexibility in how and where they work from. So that would be considered part of the virtual or remote or telecommuting workforce. They also maybe don't want to have a permanent place of employment. Maybe they want to call the shots for their own employment and take positions or opportunities as they come or go. So they want to be considered a contingency or a contract workforce. They also want to be self-directed. They want to be able to, and especially if they are a virtual employee, they want to figure out their own day. They want to align their goals, their KPIs to work in with their own schedule, and then they can report when they are ready to report. They like to be self-directed. They like to be self-paced in their work life. They also have a much greater understanding or desire for a work-life balance. They want life. They don't want to devote the next 40 years to work only. And that's another big difference between baby boomers and the next gen. Baby boomers have worked really hard for retirement. They push their whole work life for that end of their work life. And we are seeing a big difference between next gen and baby boomers in that aspect, and that next gen wants life now. They want to take those opportunities for away from work, or to not work so hard every day, but to have a more balanced home and work life. They like updated technology at their place of employment. And so that makes sense that they would want an updated hiring or job search process. They want to look to the future. They don't want to be looking backward and this is what we've always done. They don't want to hear that when they start at a new place. This is how we've always done it here. They want to be looking forward, and so that falls in line with having updated technology. And they want to be heard, and they want to be respected. They want to know that their opinions matter. They want to be valued. That goes back to being valued and appreciated.
So how can we... do you mind if I ask a question?
Absolutely, please do.
What you said about updated technology, because presumably you could have a situation where the next gen have got a more up-to-date technology than the company they're potentially going to work for.
Absolutely right. They've been using updated technology. I've experienced it myself, where we've hired a millennial, and he's come in and has all the updated apps and technology necessary to do his job, even though we didn't have it on site. So he brought a whole new scope of work to our place of employment, and we benefited from that and learned and grew from it as well. So we don't want to shut that down, right? We want to embrace that and recognize that that is moving forward. That's a future for an organization right now, and especially when you consider how quickly technology is updating, changing, evolving, innovating. It's really important to keep that in mind in all that we do. So how do we recruit or hire the next gen? They want a hiring process that meets their own needs. So that includes social, whether it's social media or meeting face-to-face or having that interaction. They want engagement. So that falls in line next with the next point, which is employment branding. How is your company branding what it's like to work at that organization? Are you relying simply on a job posting, or are you out there letting the world know, letting the job seeker know what it's like to work for your organization? And is it true? What you're presenting as your employment branding, is it truth of what it's actually like? They want an easy UX, and if you don't know what UX is, you better learn. They want an easy user experience. They want the process of applying for a job within your organization to be easy. They want the hiring process to be easy. They don't want it to be hard. They don't want to have to change their day, their life, in order to apply or go through the hiring process with your organization. They want it to fit into their own schedule. They want it to be accessible from anywhere. And all of these points point right to that one at the bottom, and that spark is mobile. We need to start thinking about a mobile future for the hiring process. So what are the benefits that you can offer as somebody who's hiring next gen that will meet those needs, what they want, those needs and wants? And this is something to remember as well, and I didn't touch on this on the previous slide. The next gen, there is not a line between wants and needs. They consider them one and the same. Their needs are their wants are their needs. And so that's very different than how I was raised, how I grew up. You know, I remember my mom telling me, you need to distinguish between your wants and your needs. Next gen will tell you, I do not need to distinguish between that. There is no line between that. So how can you lure the next gen to come and work for your company? Well, of course, you can offer competitive salary and benefits, and you should. That is the right thing to do. And what we're seeing in the U.S., and I'm not sure if it's the same globally, but what we're seeing in the U.S. is a big shift toward raising the minimum wage. And it's making a big change with smaller businesses. It's going to hurt many businesses, but it will also benefit the worker, worker that's making minimum wage. So hopefully it will be better ultimately for all of the workforce. Another thing they want is a chance for internal mobility, meaning they want to know that there will be opportunity to promote from within. Gone are the days of recruiters going outside of the organization first. I remember when I first started recruiting, we always said that promoting from within was not the best thing to do. And that was so, of course, so that we as recruiters would get work. We would get those outside opportunities as an agency recruiter or an executive recruiter. More and more companies are establishing strong internal recruitment departments, and so that means that there's a better chance for internal mobility for these employees to promote within, or not even just promoting, but actually crossing the borders of one department to another. Will there be opportunity for them to learn multiple different job skills within that organization? So that drops right into the next bullet point. Are there learning and development opportunities that lead to company success, right? And obviously a benefit is being a virtual employee, telecommuting. And what do you provide for that? Will you provide a home operating system, as in a phone, paying for their internet? Are you going to pay for them to have multiple devices, or a computer, a laptop, a screen, a printer, a monitor, not a screen, a monitor and a printer within their home office? And will you provide all the updated technology necessary? You're not going to just ship them the last employee that you fired. Are you going to ship them his old computer that hasn't been updated with new technology? So these are all sparks that could lead to and ignite a flame for the employee. There I am moving the mouse around again. Sorry about that. I just get excited when I'm talking. You can't see my hands moving like the very Italian person that I am. So let's talk a little bit about social media now, and how we can use that to engage with job seekers and applicants and candidates within our organization. Of course, we've heard so much talk about company brand, and how is the company engaging with their consumer, whether they are selling a product or distributing a product, or they are selling a service. How are you engaging with your consumer? What type of quality are you providing? Are you providing a really good product, a good service? And how are your customers or clients cared for? All of these things can be found on social media. And then finally, and this is really becoming very vital for a company when we talk about company brand, and it also transfers over to employment brand, is how are you educating your consumers, or how are you educating your job seeker? What are you giving them for free? What kind of content are you providing? And this is the major shift that we've seen lately in marketing. And marketing, we know, is crossing lines into recruitment and into HR as well. So when we talk about employment brand, we have to consider all of those things I just stated. What are you offering that lets the job seeker know what it's like to work at your organization? And all of these things are accessible from the different social networks that are out there. Do you have an internal social network, an ISN? Are you communicating with employees? Can employees turn around and let job seekers know what it's like? Still, the #1 source of hire is employee referral. So whoever comes in as an employee referral is already going to have been given a heads up on what it's like to work for that organization. That's why we like employee referrals so much. They are already aware somewhat of the company culture. And are you responding as a hiring department, as a recruiting department, as an HR department? Are you being responsive? Are you engaging with those job seekers? Or are you just being a commercial or a billboard that is not two-way? Are you responding to questions and opportunities to engage with job seekers, applicants, and candidates? And we cannot talk about any of these things without talking about mobile. All of this is accessible via mobile, whether it's a mobile phone or a mobile device like a tablet, or even a laptop, the smaller laptops that are out there now. So all of these things need to be considered, and you cannot, we no longer can separate between social and mobile anymore. They are one in the same, in that it's unrealistic to consider that you don't need a social strategy without a mobile strategy, and that you don't need a mobile strategy without or that you can do a mobile strategy without social media. And here's something that's really interesting about NextGen today and the job seekers of NextGen. And I touched on this earlier, but I wanted to come back to it because it's a very important point for you to remember. They want their job search to be self-paced. And this is something that if you've been involved with social media or social recruiting for the last 5 years, you know that this was something that we talked about very early on, that the job seeker is calling the shots now. They're determining where they go to find out information. They are determining the channels that they go to. They are determining the devices that they use, whether it's a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, or an iPhone, or any other device, a phone, a regular telephone. And they are using their own skills, the skills they already have attained in their work life, in their life, maybe from what they learned as a student or what they learned as a member of a family or a nonprofit organization. Maybe they interned somewhere. They're using the skills that they have already accrued over their short lifespan. And they are making it their decision. They are controlling the process. And it's really important to remember that this is the attitude that they have. And not that it's a cocky attitude and that you need to break it, but this is how they were raised. We're talking about a totally different generation. And it's not something that you need to break. They aren't a wild horse that needs to have a saddle on it. There needs to be compromises from both sides. And then it's also important to consider how you can nurture talent. And by that I mean actually devising a deliberate process that supports job seekers, that supports applicants and candidates, as well as the new hires within your organization. What kind of onboarding process do you have? How are your employees going to turn around and tell potential candidates about the onboarding process? Is there an opportunity for them to discover new things about themselves? Are they able to transition current skills into new skills? Are they able to share those skills within the department they're being hired into? Will they be provided the action necessary? I was on a thread, a conversation thread the other day on social media, and I'm trying to remember where it was. I think it was Social Network. Oh, I can't remember exactly the network. It might have been even an app, a mobile app called Secret. And if you don't know that, you should check it out. It's an interesting app. But there was an individual that said that they had taken a second full-time job, and because they were not given enough work at their current full-time job, they took on a second full-time job that worked the same hours, and they were doing well at double the salary at both jobs. So make sure that you're giving enough work, enough opportunity, enough action to your new employees, that they don't feel like they're stuck in a corner or that they have to go out and dig up their own work. It's really important that part of that feeling valued and feeling appreciated is actually doing something to be a proper recipient of that value, of that gratitude. And are you providing sustainable change in their life? Is it something that when they come in and work for your organization, are they going to want to sustain the change that that work opportunity has brought to them? And is your organization forward focused? Again, are you going to provide opportunities for the future for them? The next gen is very concerned about the future, in particular those that have had an arduous job search process. Many college graduates, high school graduates, any type of graduate, or those that are looking for work while they're still in school have suffered a long job search process. And it's not easy. It's not easy today to find a job. It's not the same way that it used to be. They are vying against hundreds, in some cases thousands of candidates for one position. So let's move on. So what are you as an organization really looking for? You are looking for quality first and foremost in the folks that you hire, quality of hire. It's no longer feasible to only measure time of hire, or I can't remember the phrase now. I don't even use it anymore. The time to hire. That's it. No, it's no longer feasible to only measure time to hire. Right? We need to measure quality of hire. What are they contributing to the organization? Are they staying? Right? And when you hire quality, your company will experience growth. And are you going to give back or pay it forward to those employees? I worked for a wonderful individual who had received great opportunity in his young work life, who turned around and paid it forward to his future workforce. He constantly was bringing new people in and teaching them new skills, even though we had somebody that came in that had very little engineering skills, and he sat and taught them. And because he recognized the character within them, within that individual, he was able to develop a devoted employee and a quality employee. And all of that leads to company success, or maybe even more. It leads off to an organization feeling like they can hand off the company to the next gen. They are ready to retire themselves and move forward. So it's really important as an organization we recognize the potential that lies, that just needs to be cracked open a little bit for next gen. This changes how they will think about you and how they will think about your organization and whether or not they will stick around. So ultimately, we're talking about retention. And when retention of quality employees happens, there can only be a major contribution to the success of your company. And I like to call that progress. That's what we are looking for. We are looking for progress. Then once you have these employees in place, there are wonderful opportunities for them for you actually to provide them with special or different assignments. So something to think about as you're onboarding an employee. Start making note of what their skill sets are. How have they been socializing or communicating with other members of their team or outside of their team? What is their fit? How has their fit been like? What have you seen so far? Maybe they could rotate into a different department and learn a new skill. Maybe you could give them an interim assignment. Maybe they join a member of another team and they collaborate on an important project for the whole company. Maybe it's a marketing campaign. Maybe it's something in tech development. Maybe it's a social initiative. This is one thing that is important to remember and is vital to next gen. They are very interested in social changes. They want to benefit the environment. They want to be involved in charitable causes. So the more that your organization is able to communicate those things that you do, the more interested a next-gen potential employee or current employee or new hire will be in committing to the organization. Maybe you could give them a small project to lead within their own team. Maybe you can offer them an internship with a different branch of your company or a different branch of your organization. And there's something that was started by Jack Welch called reverse mentoring. And this was at GE, and they paired up older employees with the new starts or younger employees and had the younger employees teach the older employees about technology. So maybe you have an opportunity to have a younger employee teach social media to some of the older employees. Why are these things important? Because it builds community, it builds an employment brand, it builds a culture within your organization. One of my favorite opportunities that I remember working with a tech startup was being a part of a cross-functional team. And this was where one member of each department came together and talked about, so it was a member of marketing, a member of recruiting, a member of HR, a member of tech, a member of product management, all came together, and a member of the executive team was part of this team as well. And we all came together and talked about the future for one particular project. And it was really a great learning opportunity for me. And I love the whole idea of cross-functional teams, and so I'm a big promoter of that. And then turning around and asking those that you have onboarded or new hires, how do you think we did? How was the hiring process for you? How can we make it better? How can we make your onboarding experience better? When you open those lines of communication, you're going to see a completely different response than you expected, right? This is what engagement is all about. It's actually opening those lines of communication so that your employees feel that they can share with you whatever they think would better the process for you.
And they get a chance to contribute to the future hiring process as well.
Exactly, and Mike, that goes back to retention, right? You are building, by building a better hiring process, you are building retention for your organization. The biggest cost for any organization is employee turnover. It costs, I think it's 3 times a yearly salary to replace an employee by the time you train them and get them up to speed. And so let's eliminate that cost and just do a better job at hiring and retaining those employees. So what are the outcomes of having a better, updated process? You're going to have confidence within your staff. You will have influence over them that matters, not directorial, but leadership influence that matters. There will be developed relationships when you consider a cross-functional team or the opportunity to lead in a collaborative environment. What does that mean for culture within your organization? How will that change and develop relationships? Then you're also going to develop leadership opportunities. I don't know if you've heard of the 360-degree leader or the leader from within, but sometimes the mantle of leadership falls upon somebody that you would never expect, and it's through these opportunities, these learning opportunities, that this can occur. You're going to have improved conversations and communications from the get-go. You're going to have better work-life balance. When employees are happy at work, they can leave work and go home and focus on their home life or their friends or their family, and then come back to work refreshed and ready to start the next day. They're not going to go home and search for a new job or gripe and complain and have a bad attitude and be stressed out and not be able to sleep. Right? We want work-life balance. We don't want to work employees into the ground. We want them coming in refreshed and ready to work the next day. And all of this, again, will lead to retention and loyalty that is built upon a wonderful company culture. You have ignited and inspired your workforce. Here's some things to think about. There is going to be a considerable skills gap. As technology changes and as the workforce ages, and boomers are staying around longer, they're not retiring at 62 anymore. We're seeing a workforce that's staying till they're 70, 72, 75 years old before they retire. So there is going to be a considerable skills gap. So consider how you can bridge that gap. What innovative thinking can you apply that will help bridge that skills gap? Will reverse mentoring help with that? Can you provide learning opportunities to the boomers that are still part of your workforce? Consider next gen and now gen. Folks like me, I'm 50 years old, but I am very active in technology and keeping myself up to speed with what's going on in tech, whether it's social, mobile, or HR technology, or recruitment technology, or any kind of technology out there that's changing our lives or changing how we communicate. And here's an interesting stat and how it will shift your hiring and promotion within your organization. Since 1982, 9.1 million more women have graduated from college with associate's, bachelor's, or master's degrees. How will that impact the gender shift within your organization? These are all things you have to think about. And technology, how has it changed how we communicate? How are you communicating with family that doesn't live close by now? Are you using text messaging? Are you using Facebook messaging? Right? How has technology shifted how we communicate? If it is changing how you communicate in your personal life, of course it's going to change how you communicate in your business life. And it's really important to think about and consider that technology is here to help you. It's not here to slow you down. So the more that you embrace it, the easier it will become as a part of your work life. And the more seriously you take your growth, the more seriously people will take you. That's what you need to consider about technology and HR technology. If you are running an HR department within an organization, if you are running a staffing agency, what type of system are you using? Systems are meant to align. They are meant for you to use data across those systems. And then in using that data, you can update. You can look back at your data and decide what worked, what didn't work, what looked like it might work if we changed a few things, and alter your strategy so that your organization can benefit from that strategy, from the technology that you're using. And then progress, right? Progress and progress, which is something that we are always looking for, and yet it is the most difficult thing to achieve because we get stuck in the system or we get stuck in the process. Here's some advice I have for you, and this is my hit list. If you wonder what it's like for people to search for a job within your organization, why don't you just do a quick search on your phone? Whether if you work for XYZ and you're looking to hire an engineer for XYZ, say, looking for a job, just type into the search bar, job at XYZ doing this, and see what comes up. How easy is it to get from the search bar on your mobile device to the actual application process? How easy is it to find a job for within your company? And then how easy is it to apply for a job at your company? If it's frustrating for you, who knows your company really well, what do you think that's going to be like for the next gen? Next gen has a mobile device in their hand almost 24/7. All right? We need to start considering what it's like for them to use a mobile device to look for a job within your organization. Then next, if you're using HR tech, if you have an ATS that you're using, if you're using a job posting solution, if you're using a job board, check out what it's like from mobile. Check out what those platforms are like. How is it to use those? Then also look at your website. How is your own personal, your company's website rendering on a mobile device? How easy is it to click through the tabs? How easy is it to get to your career portal from the main website? Is it a different website altogether? Do you have that linked up? Right? So figure that out. Take a look at that. And then also consider this. Even if you don't want a mobile strategy, if you don't think you need a mobile strategy, guess what? If you're sending an email or making a phone call, you have a mobile strategy. 85% of all emails are opened from a mobile device. Right? You have to consider the fact that mobile is here to stay, and it needs to be part of your process, your hiring process. So with all of these things in mind, what message are you sending? about your organization? How up to date are you? And then lastly, let's talk about what are some of the burning questions that you have. Is your company ready for today? Are they ready for the future and what it looks like? Mobile is already here. So if you're not ready for it today, you need to start getting ready for it in the future. And are you ready for it? Are you ready to accept it? If not, you might want to do a little bit more study into what the next gen wants, what the now gen wants, and where you want your organization to be in 5 to 10 years. Companies who are not ready to embrace this type of movement forward are not going to be here 5 to 10 years from now. So be the road, right? We hear the phrase "be the ball," you know, or be the change that you want to see. Be the road to the future for your job seekers. Be the road to the future for your current workforce, for your employees, for the future of your organization, for the success of your organization. And if you have any more questions from me, I'm happy to answer them. If you want to learn more about Technomedia and what we provide, we're a full HR suite of solutions. And you can reach me at all these different places. I'm everywhere. You can find me on LinkedIn. Yes, I do have 3 Twitter addresses that you can reach me at, and that's my direct line at my office. I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have.
That's fantastic, Rayanne. Thank you very much indeed. I think a couple of things that you said there really they ran true, and that was that progress is holding back things. The fact that the apply process, or the fact that companies don't realize they've got a mobile strategy because of the email situation. 85% of emails are opened on a mobile. So by default, companies are mobile, whether they realize it or not.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's another stat I want to throw out there, and maybe people have heard this, but it's almost disgusting. There are more mobile devices in the world than there are toothbrushes.
Yes. Quite scary.
So consider that. Consider that 7.2 mobile devices in the world currently. And mobile is outselling a regular PC laptop by 4 to 1 right now. Yeah. So you need to be considering mobile.
The picture you painted there in terms of what the next gen are looking for, the thing that worries me is that they might not even get to a stage of finding out that a company currently offers that, because they can't even get past the apply stage.
That's exactly right. And how many quality employees are organizations missing out on, right? How many of those quality employees, potential employees for that organization, are getting frustrated in the apply process and saying, forget it. I'm not even interested. This is taking too long. They don't care enough about me as a job seeker. The user experience, the user interface is horrible. So I don't even want to participate in this. If they can't make this a great experience, why would my employment experience be any better?
That's right, yeah. I know LinkedIn, they did a survey recently, and some of the feedback they got from job seekers, it was more or less, well, I've stopped applying because of the attitude of the company. If they can't, enhance their technology to make it easy for me to apply, I'm just not going to bother anymore. And I'm sure that must be happening all the time.
It's happening all the time, and there's a level of frustration that job seekers face right now, and I think it might be part of the reason so many give up, right? We're talking about ATS systems that are parsing resumes and maybe not finding that diamond in the rough that's out there that's waiting to come work for your organization. We have HR technologies and processes that are not making this easy on the job seeker or on the recruiter or the hiring team. It's becoming a dysfunctional two-way street.
Absolutely. In terms of the picture you've described here, how realistic is it today that a lot of companies have actually got all this in place for next gen?
Well, it's not very realistic. It's unfortunate, and I think it's why we've been talking about it. I mean, as long as I've been working in social media, we've been talking about the need for mobile strategy, right? Mobile recruitment has been a topic of conversation in the recruitment industry for the last 3 to 4 to 5 years. And it's not been until recently that everybody, as soon as, the sale of mobile devices surpasses the sale of regular PCs, now we have to start considering it, right? Unfortunately, only 2% of Fortune 500 companies have an adequate mobile strategy in place. Now, that's a stat from last year, from 2013, so I'm hoping that that's a better statistic today. But when you consider what 2% of 500 is, that's only 10. That's only 10 companies that have a good, viable, vital, valuable mobile apply strategy.
Which potentially means
horrible.
That 490 are turning people away.
Exactly. They aren't even considering what mobile can do for their organization. So it's really, really important to consider your own behavior, right? I mean, I carry my mobile device with me everywhere. It is in my hand nonstop. I mean, it's rare that I forget it when I leave my home, but if I do, no matter how far away, I'm turning around and coming back and getting it, right? Because it is part of our life. We use it for everything. It is, when we consider what the Internet of Things is, I go to Starbucks and I pay for my coffee with my mobile device. I park my car and it's using Internet to bill my bank for my parking. The Internet of Things is everywhere. Everything that we do is part of, is being controlled in part through an Internet function. So we need to consider how mobile is changing everything that we do. And it is changing fast. It is changing really, really, really fast. And if you haven't started, you're already way behind.
And if you're searching for talent and there's a shortage, then you can guess who's going to apply to your company if you're mobile friendly versus the 5 others that aren't.
Exactly. You're going to get the next gen, the now gen that is up to the challenge, the task of being ready for technology changes and innovation. I mean, this isn't going to slow down. It isn't going to stop anytime soon. It's never going to go back to the way that it was 20 years ago. We're never going to use a fax machine ever again to receive or a resume or send a job description. Job boards have changed. They've integrated social and mobile into their strategy. They have recognized, most of them have recognized how important it is to embrace the changes that these updated social and mobile technologies have brought to how we communicate and share jobs and apply for jobs. ATSs aren't even up to it yet. Right? They've got to start considering the changes that are out there. Many of them have just a mobile layer over the top, and they have not started to develop mobile first. They do not have a full, good, deep mobile strategy. It is just a layer over the top of their existing technology. Yeah. So that's not innovative. That's not embracing the future. Because trust me, we're never going back.
No, it's like 5 years ago saying social media would never work and it would never take off, and now we are 5 years later. There's no way social media is going to disappear, so it's like the same again but for mobile.
Well, and like I said during the presentation, you cannot consider one without the other anymore. Yeah. Even if you say, well, I have a social recruiting strategy, well, guess what? You have a mobile strategy then. Because if you're using Facebook, if you're using, it's something like some crazy number, like 58% of all users on Facebook are doing it from a mobile device, and most of them are doing it from bed. They're laying in their beds or on their couches or while they're watching TV. I mean, it's a completely different interactive relationship with the job seeker now. Absolutely.
Well, it's been fantastic talking to you today, and thank you very much for all the time and effort you've put into the presentation.
And, well, thank you, Mike. It's been my pleasure.
Soon.
Yes,
and thanks
thank
for all
you
your
so
help.
much.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.